Well, hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Wild Garden. And in this video I'm surrounded by birdsong, which is absolutely wonderful. There's two birds you can hear there. One, that classic little bit of bread and no cheese, is a yellowhammer. And the other one, wait for the car, that one, that scratchy riddle, is a whitethroat. Now, yellowhammers are mostly resident in the UK all year, and that lovely whitethroat is actually a visitor from Africa and the continent, along with lesser whitethroat, which has this kind of digga, sort of a rattle. That's not a very good impression. Anyway, the whole reason I'm starting this video talking to you about these two birds is because they are within what is possibly the best native shrub small tree you can find in the UK and the Northern Hemisphere. Now, if you haven't guessed from the video title and these cascades of white blossoms behind me, I am of course talking about the hawthorn. Now, the hawthorn, I could do an entire 1 hour piece on hawthorn because it's so incremental in well, I wouldn't like to say the setting up, but kind of the arrival at the point which we're at today in the making of the English landscape, which, how far back do I go? You know, we've got the Enclosures Act many centuries ago, of course, which came into force, where we introduced hedgerows and started compartmentalising our land. Anyway, that's a topic for another day, but hawthorns are an absolute, probably the key element in our countryside. If you were asked to pick one shrub that made up a hedgerow in the countryside, I don't think you would think of any other shrub before the hawthorn. Now, I know I've done a video on the hawthorn previously, but it was a long time ago, probably in the beginning of the formation of the channel, where I was in my own back garden, and I've got a wonderful little hawthorn tree which I'm actually growing at the bottom of the garden, which I'll put a couple of clips in now of. There's absolutely covered in bees the other day. I'm now a bit further north. I'm in Lincolnshire, so I've gone from Essex to Lincolnshire, 2.5 hour drive, and this stuff is just absolutely at its zenith today. It just looks like it's been draped in snow. It's just astounding. Whereas the stuff back down in Essex is already sort of going over a little bit. So amazing how kind of the latitude, obviously, of where you are throughout the Northern Hemisphere can impact at what times plants flower. Now, this plant has so many benefits for wildlife. I don't think I could do it justice, as I say, in even an hour's video. Don't worry, you don't have to sit through an hour of me waffling on. But I just wanted to highlight a few of the points, and I wanted to make you get out there at this moment, just put down this phone and get outside and go and look for some hawthorn, because I wish you could smell what I can smell right now. It is the most incredible smell. And it's just for meters and meters and meters. There's probably, well, there's a good 80 or 90 meters. There's that blooming whitethroat again singing. Now, along with the smell, which of course attracts me to this area, these blossoms are of course very good for wildlife. Now, if you don't believe how good they are for wildlife, around the tops of these trees, these shrubs, I'll put a clip in now of what I have seen, because there are literally hundreds and hundreds of robber flies. Now, if you've not heard about robber flies are quite a fascinating insect. They're a little black fly, about sort of yay big, and they actually have, when they're in flight, these two kind of dangly legs, which they use to actually go round and, as the name suggests, rob flies and other insects out of the air to actually eat. So they are around these hawthorns because of the insects that are attracted to them. So the fact that there's hundreds of robber flies here means there is therefore a lot of other insects, and I can definitely vouch for that. There are bees and copious amounts of insects visiting these flowers at the moment. They really are astounding. And of course these flowers then turn into berries later on in the year, so hawthorns really are a kind of a vital food source for so many of our overwintering birds. The list is too long to name, but of course in particular visiting birds such as waxwing, fieldfare, redwing, many thrush species. You get a big influx of blackbirds and robins, that sort of thing, in the autumn. But they are incredible as a food source through the autumn, so really they should be left to flower like this and then left to berry. Unfortunately, so many of these are flailed back in the summer months or in the early autumn months before these berries have had a chance to be eaten by the local wildlife. So they really should be left to their own devices, because they provide that vital source of food through the winter months, because we all know that our bird life seems to be diminishing left, right and centre. Not all of it, but obviously a lot of it is under threat these days from the way our countryside is managed. Everything else, too many lists to name here. But not only that, so you've got the nectar and the pollen this time of year, which as I say just smells divine. You've also got the berries in the autumn as a food source, and then you've got nesting potential. Now these have been planted, you can see by the little spirals down there, not too many years ago. I'd say maybe 7 or 8 years ago perhaps, and they've been let to grow, which is absolutely wonderful to create this hedge. Now they do create very good nesting potential for birds, such as the reason why I started this video, the whitethroat, the yellowhammer, the lesser whitethroat. So many birds in the wider countryside will use this as a place to nest because it's lovely, dense, thick, thorny scrub, which of course makes it slightly more impermeable for species such as sparrowhawk, of course, and there's a robber fly in front of me now. Yeah, they really are a vital source of nesting potential for so many birds in the countryside. You can probably hear as well, there's 2 or 3 skylarks around me, right next to a big wheat field, but this little corridor of sanctuary for wildlife is absolutely teeming with birds. I've had chaffinches as well singing, they'll nest in hedgerows like this, goldfinches, greenfinches, all those sorts of birds will nest in this dense cover, so it's a really good habitat for nesting birds, as I say, and it's just a vital or a key element to our countryside. So I genuinely can't recommend hawthorns enough to you. I really recommend you get one in your own garden. Grow it as a standalone tree if you don't want to create a hedge. They will create quite a nice tree in time. These ones aren't quite big enough to show you, but they will, if planted as a single individual specimen, create a very nice tree as to well, similar to the one I've got in my own garden. So they can be really nice as a tree. You don't often see them as a tree. Of course, we associate hawthorn as a hedgerow plant, but they do make a really good tree as well. The downside of which is once they get bigger and sort of slightly more open in the canopy, they are less appealing and provide less protection for birds to nest in, but swings and roundabouts. There's plenty of this stuff in the countryside. So hawthorn, if you haven't thought about getting any in your own garden, please do. They are absolutely brilliant, and just if you take nothing else from this video, get out there, go and sniff for some hawthorn at this time of year. Of course, we've got honeysuckle and things as well that are coming out into flower now, which are looking absolutely wonderful and smelling incredible as well. So get out there, get to your local park, your local woodland, wherever you can, and just take in these incredible smells at the moment, because you just don't get better than that, I don't think. Obviously the blackthorn earlier on is a pretty nice spectacle, which I've already done videos on, and I'll put a couple of clips in. Sorry, I'll put a link to a video at the end of that one, at the end of this video, for some blackthorn videos I've done before, but they are just this time of year the absolute essence of spring, I think. So get out there, get in your local wildlife areas, nature reserves, your local parks, and just enjoy the world around you. Thanks for watching, guys. Really appreciate the support. Feel free to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Give the video a like, and I'll be sure to bring you more videos on all the ways in which you can help wildlife in videos to come. Thanks for watching. I'll see you soon.